In this video, I'm going over the top 5 Home Assistant automation triggers that you should definitely be using. Home Assistant has 17 different possible automation triggers that you can use to start an automation, so there's no shortage of options, but some of them are, way better than others. So instead of spending all your time trying to figure out which ones are worth it, here are the 5 automation triggers that you should definitely be using that'll cover pretty much 95% of all the automations you're ever going to use. First on the list is the device trigger. The device trigger is the first one that you should start using with Home Assistant, not because it's the easiest, but because it's closest to how we think. For example, when we press a switch, we expect something to happen. So when we press the switch down, we expect the lights to turn off. And that's basically how the device trigger is set up to run. When you add this trigger, you're given a list of devices, and these represent the physical things that you've hooked into Home Assistant. So your smart switches, your bulbs, your robot vacuum, or other physical things that you've added into Home Assistant directly, those are all covered by the device trigger. And the trigger dropdown is where you choose what you want to have happen for that device in order for the automation to run. So if you want to turn on your smart bulbs with your smart switches after you've enabled smart mode, of course, then you can go to the device trigger and say, when this switch turns on, then do that thing. So in this case, then turn the lights on. This is pretty simple to understand intuitively, and it actually describes what's happening in the dropdown. There's not some code that you have to do, or there's not special settings you have to set in order for this to work. You just choose the device you want to automate on, you choose what you want that device to do, and then that automation will run based on what you set. And you can even add multiple device triggers to a single automation. So if you wanted to simulate having maybe a 3-way switch or something like that, where any one of the switches will turn on the lights, you can add those different switches, each as device triggers. So in this case, when any of the switches are pressed, then the lights will turn on. For some advanced use cases, there's actually a cool power-up that most people don't even know about. On the trigger, if you go up to the kebab menu in the upper right-hand corner, you can click Edit ID, and this lets you give that specific trigger a unique ID inside of that automation. And so with the earlier example of a 3-way switch, if you wanted one of the switches to not only turn on the main lights, but then also another side light, you could give that device trigger a unique ID, and then later on in your automation, you could detect if that device specifically was the one that triggered the automation or not, and then do something else. Like if there were a small second light in the hallway you wanted to turn on at the same time, that would work too. And so this lets you do cool things in more complicated scenarios if you needed to detect which device was the one that had triggered the automation or not. As your smart home grows, your automations might get more complicated, and so it's good to see that this flexibility exists if you need it at some point in the future. Now, automating a device is fine, but sometimes you also want to automate things that aren't devices. And so that's where the time trigger comes into play. This trigger lets you run automations on a schedule. Let's say you need a reminder to take out the trash at a specific time, or you need a reminder to pick up the kids after school. You could have this trigger run at a specific time, and that way your notification can be sent. If you need granularity of choosing which day to run the automation on, the time trigger also supports that too. So you can choose if you want to run this automation on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at a specific time, like 9 a.m., then the time trigger will support that. Now, I don't like putting my actual time in the automations. I like storing it in a helper instead. This helps, no pun intended, this helps keep things organized so that I have the time stored once, and then I can use it in multiple locations throughout Home Assistant if I need to. This helps stay organized as your smart home grows. Now, sometimes beginners start with the time trigger and they use it to control their lights, which at first is fine because the lights will turn on and then turn off at a specific time each day, like let's say 5 p.m. So we need something a little more dynamic to control our lights in that scenario. And that's where the sun trigger comes into the picture. Sun trigger will automatically trigger at sunrise or sunset based on your location. So wherever your Home Assistant is configured to exist in the settings, then the sunset and sunrise will be based on where that is. And so this makes it super simple in order to have certain things trigger based on the sunrise and the sunset. Now you can also include what's called an offset in your trigger. An offset lets you adjust how far away from sunrise or sunset to actually run on. So for example, I have an automation that closes all the curtains at sunset, and for a while this was fine. The sun would set and the curtains would close. But I found that after a while, it was still kind of dark before the sun actually set, but it wasn't fully dark. And so I added a negative offset to my trigger, which then made this automation run a half hour before the sunset actually occurred. So when it comes to offsets, negative means before the thing occurs, and then positive means after the thing occurs. The state trigger is really powerful. Every single device, every script, light bulb, switch, helper, date time, calendar, even automations themselves, they all have what's called a state in Home Assistant. Basically, if something is connected to Home Assistant in some way, then it has a specific state associated with it. This is different than the device trigger that we talked about earlier, because the device trigger generally only operates on physical devices. I find the state trigger more useful for things that aren't a physical device, for things like battery levels or pressing virtual buttons. For example, I have this one that turns on my PC with a Wake on LAN packet. It's useful for detecting firmware updates if you want to have some sort of notification. It also can control input booleans or other sensors, or even custom sensors that you've created. So like if you have a Christmas mode, like I have here, you can use it to turn on specific lights at specific times, or have specific colors turn on. Maybe the stereo plays some coffee shop music or something like that if you had friends or family over for Christmas. My Christmas mode is configured to use what's called a template sensor, and this allows me to control specifically when Home Assistant considers Christmas to have started and ended. Now, templates are an advanced topic, so I'm not going to go over them here, but they're insanely powerful and pretty much let you do anything you want. If you're interested in a beginner tutorial on templates in Home Assistant, let me know in the comments, and I'll put one together. Now, the fifth trigger that you should know about is the MQTT trigger. This lets you run an automation based on a specific MQTT payload on a path. So if you have an Arduino or a Tasmota or some other IoT device that you're using in your smart home, you can have Home Assistant and that other device communicate with MQTT without having to physically connect them together or having some sort of weird custom setup. Home Assistant will listen on that broker path for a specific payload and then run the automation. Now, because I didn't actually set a payload there, you can see that the automation triggered even though I don't have any of the action set because I specified that path as the trigger. And so for that light switch, it maybe sent a status update or something, and Home Assistant went, oh, I got a message. All right, I'll trigger this automation. And so that lets two separate devices communicate with each other, even though they may not have any other way of communicating. The MQTT trigger is that you just need the path on the broker, which is called the topic, and the specific payload that you want to trigger on, and then the automation will run when that value is sent on that topic. Now, if you don't know what MQTT is and you've been wondering what the heck I've just been talking about for the last minute or two, it's a really fast way for devices to communicate with each other, and it's something that every smart home creator should know about. And you can get MQTT up and running quickly with this tutorial that I put together, and I'll see you there.